Mr. Jatin, I have made you presenter. We are not able to hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Now you are audible.
Yeah. The event recording has started. So
Yes, yes.
in case any one of you have concern regarding the same, you may feel free to exit the event. At the onset, I would like to thank the PMI Mumbai chapter, Ketan Bhai and Girish Bhai for organizing this event. Special thanks to Sunil of admin team and Swati ma'am of IT team for the support. Before I start my present, let me share my screen now. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Can someone
yes.
confirm?
Yes, yes. We are able to see your screen.
Okay. Before I start my presentation, I have one request to all the participants. In case if you have any questions, being a virtual forum, we can't have immediate interaction. Please keep on firing your questions in the chat window. I'll take the questions taken in the first half, just after the break, and the remaining questions I'll take after the presentation. That is robotic. The presentation in of
Mr. Jatin, your audio is breaking.
that presentation. We robotic process automation. What are the limitations? What we cannot automate, etc., etc. One of the biggest challenges I have discovered as an RPA professional is to discover the process candidates. What should we automate? And that's a very big challenge. We are dependent on the experienced team members from the business side, the business stakeholders to tell us, hey, look, this is what I feel we should automate. If the business doesn't come up with an idea, the process never gets automated. Another source which we have found has been the IT team members who know that this is the process in the organization and I feel this could be an opportunity, but it is extremely person-driven process. If the person does not take the initiative to come out with an idea, the automation never takes place. Process mining and process discovery are two approaches to find out the candidates for automation. With this initial background, let me start with my presentation. The agenda for the presentation is initial introduction, followed by detail about process mining. That in turn will follow by process discovery. Once we have understood both the approaches, we'll take some examples and see plus and minuses of both the approaches. Through the comparison, we'll find out in which scenario process mining is suitable and what is the sweet spot of process discovery. So let's get rolling. In my presentation, I'll be showing you few videos from YouTube, and because of the some limitation with our WebEx ID, the video is not playing from my ID and it will be played from Swati ma'am's ID. So you will find a presentation a bit jerky at times, in the sense that there will be a time lag for the handover of the control from me to Swati, Swati to me back. So at the onset, I apologize for the jerkiness of the presentation. So let's start by understanding what is the process. We know it, but for the sake of completeness, I am defining the process as defined in the Cambridge Dictionary. A series of actions that you take in order to achieve the desired result. So as we all know, process is in turn subdivided into activities or tasks which we have to do predefined order to reach from point A to point B. In between, as we all know, there are multiple forks depending upon the condition, and we may take path A or path B depending upon the state of the process on hand. So we all of us would have been part of some process improvement exercise. It might be an IT initiative, it might have been process improvement initiative, it might have been even ISO documentation. In all the initiatives, there are some common threads or problems which we all encounter. So to describe and detail out those problems, let's consider a hypothetical process. The version 1 given to us by a stakeholder has only 3 steps in a straight line. Very simple process, very easy to understand. Now, when we talk to stakeholder 2, we get version 2. It looks much more complicated. The 3 steps remain therein. Along with that, we come across 2 decision points. And the process is much more complicated than the initial one. And this naturally leaves us with a doubt. Have we collected the complete information about the process, or is there still a version 3 or version 4 there in somebody else's mind? And we all know what could have happened if we have got, if we are aware of only version 1 and we have automated version 1. Within no time, the automation would have failed because it would not have accommodated activities or task A1, A2, and B1. And naturally, it would have failed miserably. Problems as we have discussed. Sorry, I pressed the enter button. So what are the common problems? The first problem, as we have seen, is that the process described to us depends upon the knowledge of the stakeholder describing the process. Why it is so? At times, the process has its own variants across the different departments. If a same process is followed by multiple departments or multiple lines of business, there might be difference in the process. Even the locational differences do come across. The process as followed in Mumbai may not be same as the process being followed in Delhi. There might have been some additional wrinkles in the process at either of the places. And at times, there are some extremely ingenious process variants which are hard to contemplate. Here, I would like to share one of my most favorite example of the initiative-based process control. This has happened in a project company, engineering and procurement company. Like any EPC company, lot of material is delivered by the suppliers directly to the project sites. And the GRN or a goods receipt has to be made by the project team. And till the GRN is made, a lot of downstream processes like supplier bill booking, supplier payment, tax credit, even consuming the material and generating the project revenue, etc., do not happen. The project team, being the project team, is focused mainly on the task of project execution. And for them, the GRN, etc., are, so to say, the impediments to that task of project execution. They feel that if I can see the material in front of me, I should ensure that it gets erected and commissioned in the shortest possible time, and rest of the task can wait. So it was a very big problem. And initial solution was that the supplier is requested to send a dispatch document set to the procurement team, and the procurement team will make rough GRN. This rough GRN cannot initiate any process which will touch either the stock or the financial side of the business, but it only flags that so many GRN are pending, and a report was developed to list out the things. The report got developed, report used to get circulated to everybody, and the process was still not under control. The project team will take their own time to create the GRN, and they'll have plenty of issues like I work on a remote place, there is no site connectivity, my dongle doesn't work, X, Y, Z, the results were endless. But while generating and extracting out this report, one of the IT team discovered that this process is running very smoothly in a very small branch, which is in a tier 2 city. There is absolutely no problem, and the GRNs are made on time. And the IT team member had a deep dive into it on his own initiative, and he discovered a absolutely unbelievable wrinkle in a process. One of the impacted party of this Lucena was the finance team, and the finance manager of that branch took the matter in his control, and he linked the pending GRN to the petty cash disbursement for the project. For any project to execute, the project team requires the impest cash which they can spend on urgent expenditure, and it gets replenished from time to time. This finance manager took a decision that if you can't make GRN on time, the impest cash will not be disbursed to your project. And this unbelievable wrinkle of the process ensured that there is absolutely beautiful execution in that branch. What this wrinkle implementable elsewhere? Can we implement it elsewhere? No. The organization failed to implement this suggestion or a wrinkle elsewhere, as it was a person-driven initiative. Only that particular finance manager, by force of his personality, could dictate and implement it. And as a matter of fact, when that person moved out of the organization, his successor could not continue with the process. And this branch also followed the rest of the branch in being horrible in the task of making GRN on time. By any stretch of imagination, could we have discovered this process? Definitely no. Could we have documented this process? Almost unlikely. The second look at now what we come across after this long story, let's go back to the issue of process definition once again. The point number one, which I have described in a bit of detail, is that the project description is subjective, depends upon the project as seen and perceived by the stakeholder describing the process. The second look has been that stakeholders do not have any information in how many percentage of the cases the path A1, A2 is taken. If you ask them, they say, well, it is used from time to time, not much, but it is required. If you ask about process B1, again similar story. The third look is if you ask the stakeholder, how much time does the process take? Then they will have very, very vague idea. They will not know the timeline, any distribution of the timelines. They may have some idea about start doing the activity one. Will it take 5 minutes or 10 minutes while I am doing the activity? But total time taken for activity, including all the delays, waiting for clarification, etc., they may not have the proper handle about it. So once they don't have the handle about it, they can't suggest which path needs immediate attention. So these are the issues in process definition. With that, let's move ahead and move into the process mining, which is the first tool we'll be using for addressing these challenges. We have defined the word process. Now let's try to define the word mining, again from the Cambridge Dictionary. The industry or activity of removing substance such as coal or metal from the ground by digging. This is the typical definition of mining. That through effort, you remove the substance from a ground. So what is mining all about? What happened? Okay. So As you can see from the picture of mining, mining is an industrial activity which has a kind of a fixed process, which is amenable to high degree of automation. The more you automate the process, lower will be your cost and better will be the output in terms of the tons per hour or the quality, etc., etc. The mining process is amenable to output norms. Like for example, one excavator should be able to take out, let's say, 100 tons of coal and fill up in the dumper. Such norms can be easily determined for the mining process. Or mining as a whole should produce 5 lakh tons of coal per month, iron ore per month. So it's an industrial grade process, having very little initiative left on the part of the workforce and highly controlled and streamlined activity. As we will see down the line in the process mining videos, process mining also follows the same path. There is minimal of user intervention and the things are driven lot by themselves. So what is process mining? Process mining is an activity wherein the digital footprint of a process is analyzed, and based on the analysis, business models are developed and the raw data is converted into the expert knowledge which can answer the questions and give you the pointers for process improvement. Process mining gives you fact-based insights. Process mining can tell you in our process, the loop A1, A2 is taken exactly in 48.72% of the cases. And it can also tell you under what circumstances this loop it goes there. And it can also tell us that on an average, if the loop A1, A2 is executed, it will add 4.5 days to the process cycle time turnaround time with on an average and max of 10 days and mean of 2 days. It can give you this kind of information. What are the uses of process mining as an endeavor? Besides being a tool for determining RPA candidates, it has a much wider gamut of use cases. Firstly, you can audit it. It can act as an audit tool. It can tell you simply that what are the percentage of cases wherein the supplier invoice was received before even the purchase order was placed. So how many cases where people simply called up the supplier that, hey, give me 50 pieces of this material and we'll regularize it later. And who are the suppliers with whom such buying takes place on a regular basis? It can give you such data. So it's an audit exercise. It gives, you can get a trend that in Q1, there were 25 POs raised with such violation. In Q2, because it was a peak business season, the 25 became 52, so on and so forth. Again, it becomes a tool for analysis as It gives you lots and lots of information on a platter. You can analyze the process in a microscopic detail. And naturally, all this leads to process improvements. It may be in the arena of robotic process automation. It may go inside the automating the core system itself. For example, if you are an ERP system, you may do some automation within the ERP system itself, or you may build additional validations. Like for example, that if we can determine in the system that there has been a invoice before the PO, we may build a business rule that the email gets triggered to some senior person, and that senior person only can release that purchase order, so that all the deviations are brought to the notice of a senior person. Such kind of business process automation one can do within the ERP system also. How the process mining tool works. The process mining tool connects to the IT systems, and it gathers the data of the digital footprint and the logs from these systems. It has a ready-made understanding of many of the leading process systems like leading ERPs, leading CRM products. A typical process mining tool will have in-depth understanding of ERPs like SAP, Oracle EB Suite, Microsoft Dynamics, CRMs such as Microsoft CRM, Salesforce, even ServiceNow, so on and so forth. And it knows exactly which tables to read for this process, because all the data in all these systems will be stored in underlying table. It knows how to read those tables, how to analyze the data within the table, how to build the process models. And it will render the data, process data, in an extremely intuitive and a user-friendly manner, so the user can analyze the process by applying the filters such as time filter or a warehouse filter, that I want to analyze data for this warehouse or this manufacturing plant, or a supplier or a customer filter, etc., etc. And they can point out zero in the problem with a clear understanding how many times the problem has occurred, what's the impact on the process execution, etc., etc. Why we should use this tool? A bit of sales talk, you may feel so. You can use data-driven insight to improve your processes rather than working on the hunches. Again, your impact is clearly laid out. About the hunches and guesswork, I would like to cite an example. In an organization, a new CFO was appointed who was a great fan of Six Sigma. And he felt that Six Sigma can go a long way in improving the business processes in the organization. So he became a project sponsor and he started a value stream mapping, one of the very powerful Six Sigma tool to map out some of the key processes. So I was part of one of the VSM meeting, and the meeting was facilitated by an external facilitator. Initially, when the meeting started, at every step, there used to be a cross-departmental give and take that why it is taking so much of time. And there was a lot of finger pointing going on. That because department X is supposed to execute a process, but Y is not supporting the department X, and hence the time is bloated. The facilitator started giving us had a calming influence that look, we are meeting here because we want to improve the process. You should not do the finger pointing, accept the realities. Everybody is trying their best, but they are not able to deliver their best. You accept that reality and we can do much better. Pretty soon, a penny dropped with everyone concerned that look, nobody has a clue how much time the process takes to execute. And everybody started thinking that if we give the as-is process as long as possible, we can show much better improvement via 2BA and we can become heroes. So everybody started giving their worst cut estimate for all the tasks, sub-activities, and the timeline started getting bloated up. Everybody was thinking that each and every process, the worst case scenario will manifest and the time should be as per the worst case scenario. At the end of around 1 day of exercise, when the time were totaled, it came up as such a bloated figure that everybody realized, all the participants themselves, that this is simply absurd figure. If we have this kind of a figure, the organization would have closed down decades ago. Why this happened? Because it was left to people's estimation. The process mining takes away this estimation and gives you the precise time estimate along with the max, mean, etc., of each step. It can naturally help you with monitoring and compliance, as we have discussed earlier. Now I have spoken a lot about process mining. So now I would request Swati ma'am to show the video on what is process mining. It's around 5-minute video, which will give you better insight into what is process mining.
Yeah, I will need the presenter access.
Thanks, Swati.
Yes, ma'am, I've given you
Yes.
presenter access.
Swati, there is no voice. Even I can't hear.
Yeah, ma'am, audio is not visible, audible right now.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah, you'll have to play it again.
Is it audible now?
No, not yet. Again, same thing. SAP AG has acted as a venture capital, and it's a kind German company which works quite closely with number one ERP vendor SAP. Hence, I have selected Celonis to demonstrate the stuff. It's in terms of the functionality, it's not something which is absolutely out of the world in Celonis, and other vendors do not have the same functionality. Everybody is having more or less similar functionality. But I have decided to use Celonis for demonstration purpose. Ma'am, can you play the second video, please? In the second video, we have seen in the first video how easy it is to analyze the data, but how the data reached from your ERP system into Celonis, we'll see it in a second video, how easy it is to create a bridge and simply transform the data into the actionable process models.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Swatiji, you are presenter now. You can
Yeah.
run the.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to step 6 of your digital consulting journey. My name is Finja, the digital consulting manager here at Celonis and key contact for the digital consulting platform. Now that you've become an expert with the Celonis trainings, let's get started with an actual client project. Today we'll show you how you can set up the Intelligent Business Cloud environment and create the first dashboard. So let's suppose we would like to analyze the opportunity management process of our client using Salesforce as a data source. The first step is to request a project on the digital consulting platform. Enter the project information, and after confirming, we will prepare the environment for you. Now you can access the environment and get started with connecting the source system. You can easily set up the data connection by logging in into a Salesforce account. As Salesforce is also a cloud-based service, it offers a perfect technological fit for building a data connection with the Celonis Intelligent Business Cloud. In the next step, you can simply navigate to our App Store to install the pre-built dashboards. Select the data connection you've set up previously, define the options based on your needs, and start extracting the data. And with these simple steps, your first dashboard is ready to use, and you can get started with generating insights for your client. Now that you've seen how easy it is, start your journey as a digital consultant right away and sign up on the digital consulting platform at consulting.celonis.com.
Okay. Can you view back the controls?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. Okay. In the second video, I have shown you the connection of Salesforce with Celonis. I have seen another video of connecting SAP to Celonis also. SAP being an ERP has a much bigger thing. So all you have to do is for the establishing a connection, give the IP address of your SAP system, user ID the Celonis should use to read the data, and the password. That's the point number one. The moment you get the connected in the Celonis App Store, you get ready-made dashboard for what Celonis calls as P2P, procure to pay, O2C, order to cash, production, frictionless finance, which is a Celonis term for the financial processes. So all those connections are readily available. In the P2P video, what model saw, it comes pre-built. Being a pre-built model, it has certain limitations. Like for example, if you are doing certain activities, which are not built in a model, probably it will never catch it. Just to give an example, let's say we'll continue with the P2P example only. Let's say after creation of the purchase order, you would like to store all the data pertaining to the purchase order, all the quotations received, email correspondence, so on and so forth, in a document management system or DMS. Here there is the fork. If the DMS is a part of the ERP, then the process mining tool may detect it and take it in a part of the process. But if you are storing in a standalone DMS, the process mining tool will not have clue about it and it will not detect it. Similarly, if you are doing certain activities in Excel as a prior working, process mining will not detect it. But being a part of the digital footprint, the process mining tool will detect creation of a purchase order or GRN by any process, any method you have followed. Just to elaborate on this point, let's take case of GRN or goods receipt. One may make goods receipt manually by logging into the ERP system. One may have a vendor portal or something wherein a supplier pushes the invoice data and those invoices are approved by the stakeholder and the GRN is made using robotic process automation. The third thing is that after the GRN, we'll continue with our vendor portal only. And there is another that on the vendor portal, the invoice is approved. And instead of robotic process automation, one may use the APIs provided by the ERP system and directly create the GRN in the ERP system, provided this is allowed as per the licensing norms of the ERP system and the product vendor will not run after you. If that is a possible, that is the case for the organization, the third case is also possible. So in a nutshell, we have three methods of making GRN. The first one is a manual method wherein somebody logs in into the ERP system and makes GRN. Secondly, instead of human being bots log into the ERP system and make GRN. And thirdly, an external system talks to the ERP system and pushes them at a very heavy rate. No matter what method you have used, if you make a GRN, the same set of tables will get impacted and the GRN making will be detected by the process mining tool. No two words about it. Okay. This is a Everest Group process mining product matrix. And this I have taken it from the Celonis website. As it is seen on the bottom, this assessment has been licensed for exclusive use and distribution by Celonis. So it's not a proprietary data. It's a kind of a public data, which is available on a Celonis website. As you can see in the leader quadrant, there are three vendors. Celonis at the maximum height, and hence I have selected Celonis as a product vendor. Second is Software AG. Third is UiPath. UiPath is a world number 2 or 3 RPA vendor, and they have their own suite of process mining. Whereas world number 1 automation any RPA product Automation Anywhere has decided on a strategic basis decision that we will not have process mining tool and we use Celonis. So in future releases of Celonis as Automation Anywhere, plugin into Celonis is getting built into it. This is on a Automation Anywhere roadmap. In the major contenders, My Invenio, Lana Labs, they are all again RPA vendors. So being an adjoining space to RPA vendor, today it is imperative for RPA vendor to have a process mining strategy in place. And this is what is the current state of process mining landscape. I think so. I have come to a logical point where we should
Okay. So Jatin, I will take a break of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before break,
Yes.
I have to make an important announcement. In today's
Sure, yes.
presentation, I am wearing two hats. The hat number 1 you have seen, that is a. So now I'll quickly switch over my hat to the president of the PMI election and nomination committee. Make a small announcement.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Jatin Kaji. I was about to mention that, but you have already announced that. So please go ahead with your announcement on the elections.
Yeah. So as you are aware, every year in PMI Mumbai chapter, we have election and the new board members take up the position from the and they have a tenure of 3 years. So April 21 to March 23 for the board positions, the elections are due and the election process is has already started.
For 2 years, not 3 years.
For 2 years. Sorry, I stand corrected. Thanks, Bharat Bhai. Okay. The current open positions are President, Vice President Membership, and Vice President Marketing. So 3 positions are open in this election cycle. The election schedule is by 11th of November, you will receive an email notification about the forthcoming election. The interested candidates can submit nominations till 3rd of December. An election committee will do the scrutiny and acceptance of the nomination till 5th of December. And nomination can be done by the candidates 7th of December. What's the process of filing the nomination? In the notification, there will be a link pointing you to the PMI chapter website. From the link, you can download a bunch of documents which contains the forms as well as the necessary information. After the downloading the documents, you have to fill up the nomination application form, which talks about you as a candidate and why you should be elected. What are your credentials? What is your vision for the PMI Mumbai chapter? What you want to do for your portfolio, so on and so forth. This will take the major you in terms of filling up, and please spend good time to ensure that your credentials are presented to everyone in the best possible. Other are kind of supporting declaration form declaring that I have no conflict of interest. I am not having a similar board position. I am not an authorized training partner, so on and so forth. Conflict of interest form, confidentiality agreements, because being a PMI board member, you will receive access to substantial amount of confidential data, and you hereby agree that you will maintain the necessary confidentiality. Ready? Please mail the document to election@pmimumbaichapter.com. Thanks. It's 11:05 as per my watch. So let's take 15 minutes break and reconvene at 20. Thank you.
Thank you, Jatin bhai.
I think, hello, 15 minutes I think too long. As usual, we normally keep 10 minutes.
Okay.
Next time, don't announce like that. Eh? Last each announcement, keep it to
Okay. Okay.
10 minutes only. And
Okay.
we'll discuss how to announce this because you have to prepare one small PPT for that. Session 1, pre-break and session and break 10 minutes, session 2, post break. ऐसा करके आपको बनाना पड़ेगा presentation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hello guys, I hope people are back from the break. Before we start, again I will do the announcements which we were doing in the morning. If people have missed out, that from next time onwards, we'll be starting at sharp at 10 a.m. and we'll start the event by 9:30 so that there's a networking time available to everyone. 9:30 to 10, you can do some networking, and would request everyone to log in by 9:55, 5 minutes before the event starts, because we are going to start at 10 a.m. sharp. And our next event is scheduled on 29th November. So please do join in the PM forum on 29th November. We'll be circulating the topic as well as the speaker's name very soon. And I hope Jatin Bhai is back. Jatin Bhai.
Yeah, I am back. I am ready to roll.
Okay. I'm making you presenter. You can take over.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of the presentation. In the break, I have received only one comment, that is from Alad Fadke. And he mentioned that it's a good initiative, wherein in the presentation there is some connection with the EPC. That's it. Thanks a lot, Alad, for your comment. So far, I have not received a single query. It means to be either everything is absolutely clear or everything is bouncer for the all of you. I don't know which way to lean, because I don't have a process discovery tool connected to your mind to know which way I should lean. So again, requesting you to post your queries in a chat window. I'll answer all of them at the end of the presentation. Is my screen visible? Hello?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. So in the first half, we have covered the introduction as well as process mining. Now we'll continue the presentation and we'll go to the second tool, that is process discovery. And then we'll compare and contrast the two tools, find out their sweet spots. Let's get rolling. What is this? The process of, again from Cambridge Dictionary, the process of finding information, a place or an object, especially for, so as we all know, Columbus discovered America. So now, if any one of us travel to America, it's not travel. It was the first time, and hence it was the epic event. Similarly, drug discovery is an event by itself, which is absolutely distinct from manufacturing the same drug, like how Alexander Fleming discovered the penicillin. N number of pharmaceutical companies are now manufacturing penicillin. So that's a difference. If we hear discovery, what comes to our mind? It's an intellectual endeavor. There is no SOP to discover a drug. Nobody has been ever successful in writing SOP for drug discovery. Every time you use your brain, analyze the data, and find your own path. The discovery is a project. with a definite start and it's a unique endeavor. Every drug discovery project is unique in nature. No matter how big the organization is of looking after the discovery, it is still individual driven process. The spark in the brain is the most important thing. It's a trial and there cannot be any norms. You cannot have a norm that if I put 100 scientists in a year, I'll get one drug. You may not get anything for 5 years, and you may get 3 in a year also. So that's what we mean by discovery. It's an individualistic endeavor. So now we'll translate the same into the process discovery as a tool. Here, the process discovery tool records the process along with all its variation and the knowledge of the users who execute the process day in, day out, why they are doing it, along with the how they are doing it, why they are doing it also captured. Now, if you compare it with the process mining, the interaction with the user was zero. So you only see that this kind of activity was taken place. Why? You don't know. That the tool cannot answer. So what does the process discovery do? It will understand the process with all its variation. Along with that, it will do one more thing. It is tightly integrated with the automation tool, and it will identify out the process as automation candidate, even make automation recommendations, manage automation pipeline, that I have got so many candidates and where all each candidate is lying. And the product may even develop a starter bot or and also create the process documentation. Don't get too excited by the starter bot because what I have seen as an RPA professional is that basic process creation takes hardly 10% of the bot development time. The majority of the time goes in making the bot foolproof and fault tolerant. Something the starter bot will not encompass. You need to make the what will happen if this happens, that happens. And this is typically like, for example, if user types out rubbish data in a column, what should bot do? That takes a lot of time. For example, if I am creating I have got a bot for creating a sale order, and in a customer code, if someone types out his or her mobile number, what bot should do? How to trap this error and ensure that bots keep that particular record and moves on and communicate that I have skipped this record. That's what takes the major time. Hence, don't get too excited by the starter bot. Similar is the case with the process documentation. The initial process documentation created will be reasonably good, but again, it will suffer from the same leukemia. It will not list out the edge cases. It will not list down the error handling. how the discovery tool works. Let's say user is given a access to record the processes while execution. So it doesn't record all the transactions done by a user. When user is about to perform a transaction which is of the interest for process discovery, the user will start the recorder, and the recorder will record the process as it is being executed by the business user. Once the process execution is over, user will naturally switch off the recorder. It will analyze the process and gain process insights. What are the variants? How the variants are processed? What are the additional steps for processing those variants? Here there is one more step wherein the user is asked to provide the brief write-up about each process step. Let's say in a process, there are 30 standard steps. And standard step by standard step, I mean is at a very, very micro level. If I am creating a sale order, entering a customer code is one screenshot. If I am searching for customer screenshot code, it could be another screenshot. Entering material code, quantity, the warehouse code, price, taxation, all are different steps. So the user has to mention out all the step description, and the tool will be smart enough that if a new recording comes up, it will pick up the appropriate place and associate the appropriate description with the appropriate screen, and it will flag to the user if there is a new screen for which it does not know what does it mean. And it is flagged to the user. The user has to add to the master tab. Let's say initially we have gone by the state process and we have documented the state process. Now we have gone through step A1 and A2. So some 15 new screens have come up, the user documents it. So whenever now the user goes by A1, A2 again, it will get recorded again, and next time system will automatically update those things, and it will identify out the opportunity. This screen, the user is doing nothing, I can do it. It will find out the saving opportunity, and it will manage the automation pipeline in the sense that this is the opportunity created and it is under recording by the user. This is under analysis, and after analysis there will be a workflow wherein one or multi-level stakeholders will approve it, and it will go in the development deployment. It will manage the pipeline also through the discovery. So this discovery tool is not a standalone tool like process mining tool. It is coming as a part of the RPA tool itself. It's a RPA tool, and it will not stand on its own leg. Why use the discovery tool? Discovery of the candidate, which is a bit of sales talk, to have better understanding of process variants and reduce the rework is the most important thing. If the user records 50 variants 50 execution cycles, it may more variants than what the user is describing and what is there in user's mind. And if one knows the variant, one will accommodate those variants in the automation itself, and it will reduce the rework, improve the pipeline management, because the automation pipeline with the discovery, development, and deployment. So now I'll present to you a process discovery tool in action. This is a video taken from Automation Anywhere, which is the #1 RPA tool. As you can see the thread, I have taken the top performer so that I can show maximum possible performance and the functionality. Requesting Swati ma'am to play the video, please.
Okay, ma'am, I have made you presenter. You can take the control now. Hello, Swati ji. Hello.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute, please. There is some issue with my laptop battery.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting the video.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, are you sharing a screen? We are not able to see it.
One minute. It's still.
Okay, okay.
Swati ma'am still not started.
Yeah, now I think it's
Yeah.
loading.
Now it is loaded. And are you? Is it visible now?
Not
Is
yet.
the screen visible
Not
now?
yet. It's no. It's still refreshing the screen. No, ma'am, still not yet. Now.
Nothing is visible. Like,
Yeah, it's a blank screen coming.
it is not coming properly. It is coming some part only, and two videos played and the third video is creating problem. Is it a very large video?
Yeah, it is little other. And 1 minute. I think there is because there is my battery is little halfway, so it is causing an issue. 1 minute. I'll try to share it again.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Can't see anything. There is a music going on, but we can't see anything.
Is my screen visible now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It is loading it or refreshing the screen, but now it is visible. Yes.
Yes.
Now I would suggest to start it from the beginning.
Yeah, I'll start it from the beginning.
But there are too many mixers. In the
Is that
video,
okay
there
now?
is too much. Yeah. Now it is
Yes.
confirmed.
I think it is buffering issue here. Because directly
Yeah, correct.
linking to it's a buffering issue. That's why we are getting late display. Sound come first, the display come later.
Correct. स्वाति जी पहले से प्ले कीजिए.
Yeah, I started it playing from the beginning.
Okay.
Should I revert back, move back
Yes,
to
yes.
the beginning?
Yes, please.
Okay, starting from 0 again.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Swati. This was the last video.
Yeah, it's run. Sorry, there was some issue earlier with the laptop battery, so it took time to
Okay, it's
load the video.
fine. Yeah, Murphy has to hit us during the presentation.
Yeah.
Sure. Can you make me presenter, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is
Okay.
visible.
See, there was, sorry for the issues in the video play, and the commentary wasn't very clear. So what all we saw in the video, let me describe it. This process is about the rejected invoice, why invoices are rejected and what we can do about that process. So someone created a discovery project and enrolled the business users into that project. And from the discovery tool itself, the email was shot off to the user. The user received a mail with a link. So as and when the user was recording the process, and after course of recording of the process, the analyst analyzed the results. He was presented a dashboard that why the process is failing and what are the results thereof. From this analysis, the analyst found out the major causes and created the automation pipeline. He found major causes, the expected saving, depending upon the quantum of the time saved into the annual volume, into the hourly rate, so on and so forth. And he presented the automation pipeline to his manager. Again, this mail was triggered from the discovery tool itself. The manager reviewed the pipeline. He went through the same set of screenshots. He applied his mind, he or she, again on the same set and found that this is a valid automation opportunity. So instead of approval in this product, he clicked the create starter bot, and the starter bot got created. This being a product vendor video, the starter bot got simply after a review by the manager got deployed. It won't happen. So it will undergo a hell lot of testing and foolproofing before being deployment. But that's the process in a nutshell. Okay. This is a process discovery is a relatively newer subject area as compared to process mining, and hence in a public domain I could not find any image describing the players and their relative strengths and weaknesses. So I am unable to produce that figure. So with that, let's move on to the comparison of process mining versus process discovery. So here our first example is project GRN example. Here there are two variants thereof. First is our ad hoc petty cash disbursements connected to the project GRN. So what are the steps as we had discussed and implemented by a strong-willed individual submission of the petty cash voucher by the project team to the finance team, the extraction of pending GRN report by the finance team, analyze the report and decide on payment again by finance team, and if the GRNs are okay, petty cash payment. Even though I am picking the petty cash payment as yes, but if you are doing a project GRN, this will not come up because nobody will be able to link the two. The GRN would have been made before the people know that without a clean report, the money will not be disbursed. So they would have done it beforehand only before submission of the request. So even though I am tick marking here and here as yes, but in reality, if you are trying to do project GRN process study, in this process, everything is no. Now in the same organization, I am continuing with my story. The one locational process also died the natural death with the attrition of the strong-willed individual. And after few years, the organization developed and deployed a vendor portal wherein the vendors are supposed to post the invoices on the portal, and these invoices in turn will trigger multi-stage goods receipt approval. And once it's a approval process, it will come with its own bells and whistles such as escalations, so on and so escalations tracking, so on and so forth. And finally, on receipt of all the approvals, the GRN will be made in ERP system. Now, if you compare the process in the discovery tool, you can track all the three things if you know the process, whereas the vendor mining tool will come with a rigidity and will not integrate with our custom built vendor portal so easily. So the invoice posting on the vendor portal as well as multi-stage GRN approval will not get covered by the process mining tool. Now let's move on to another example. This example is of a hypothetical company called XYZ Widgets, which has a single manufacturing plant, pretty large plant, having complex inbound supply chain catering to all kinds of procurement requirements, which we'll see in the details in the subsequent slide. Since our initial slide was about, video was about P2P, we'll consider a subset of the P2P process for analysis. What all we are considering is pre-purchase order activities such as price list update. Because if we have updated the price list, the price will flow from the price list directly into the purchase order and one need not type in the price list. Fixed asset code creation. For a capital procurement, one may require fixed asset code. The procurement team may receive the request from other divisions such as HR, admin, quality, maintenance, production, who may not have right to create the purchase order. So they may submit a Excel template along with the supporting to the procurement team for creation of the purchase order. The procurement team will naturally review that. The next step is purchase order creation. Post-purchase order activities such as storing the purchase order data, supporting data in DMS, And finally, the purchase order release. We are only considering this part only. We are not going into the further complications of GRN, bill booking, payment. And now for this subset of P2P process, let's consider different examples and what happens if we analyze the process via process mining but vis-a-vis process discovery. The first thing is import of BOM material, bill of material. In standard import of typically raw material, semi-finished goods, so on and so forth. The organization has the discipline that price list is precursor to the PO creation and hence someone has to update the price list. The price list update, even though happens in the ERP system, it may or may not get covered by the process mining tool. Hence, I have crossed it out. In process discovery, as you can see, in any process, one can record anything. So I am not going into the process discovery portion. Create and release PO naturally happens in the ERP system and it's a standard process. It will get recorded in the process mining. The next process is of commodity at current price. Let's say the manufacturing plant requires huge volume of aluminum sheets, tubes, structural members, etc. These aluminum parts are sold on a LME per ton cost plus the conversion charge. So here in a day, if you create two contracts with two suppliers, the price will be different. So this is a typical process wherein the buyer is the expert of the commodity in question. Just like how a stock analyst studies the price movement of a stock and makes a buy and sell decision, the buyer over here analyzes the price trends and places the PO at an appropriate price. So before PO creation, he'll have a back and forth dialogue with the vendor, and so he'll create the PO, he'll upload the supporting his document chain, his chart screenshot, etc. in the DMS. In all my discussions, I am excluding out the DMS as the process mining tool may not support it. Again, release will get covered. Domestic purchase, price list, create and release PO, the same story. That price list will not get covered, create and release PO will get covered. The fourth process I am describing is procurement of BOM material from an identified supplier. Here there is a twist in a PO making process. One did not cook. If there is a quota arrangement in place, when the planning engine runs, the plan purchase requisitions are associated with a supplier code and one can simply generate the purchase order. If there are two suppliers having quota of 60 and 40, and I have got a requirement 200, then the first, there will be two PR with quantity of 120 and 80. And using this PR, one can simply generate the PO. So there is a separate screen available wherein one enters the limited item that I want to generate all the purchase orders for a given plant and a supplier combination, because the price in the purchase order is not manually taken, it is taken from the price list. So as a buyer, I have updated the price list and I run the generate PO session and the PO goes to the release. The generate PO session is different from a create PO session wherein on a screen the user enters a lot of data, but still it impacts the same set of tables. So process mining tool will identify out. Let's move on to smart procurement processes. Domestic purchase of commodity based components. This is a very peculiar purchase again of copper and aluminum parts, wherein on the month end closing price of a Bombay Metal Exchange or BME, the component for the next month are fixed. And typically, supplier gives us that this component weighs 300 grams. So you have to pay me for 300 grams as per the BME plus my conversion cost of 75 rupees. So that's the price mechanism. So the moment in an Excel, the data is there, the component code, weight, and the conversion cost. The moment in a given column 1 enters the BME rate, the price gets created in Excel. One may create the price list manually or generate the price list in the ERP system. Create the purchase order, upload this price list Excel in DMS, because this price list becomes a very important audit tool down the line, and release the PO. Price list creation in Excel naturally will not get created, but if our user was conscious enough and records the process, it can get covered in discovery. Create price list and upload DMS, we have already covered. The next scenario is generation of miscellaneous purchase orders. Typically, buyer receives the PO creation request from the user through mail. There is an associated template which the buyer reviews, and there is a back and forth if there are some issues. And PO is created through Excel upload. Typically, it is a custom development because no ERP gives the Excel upload of PO, but generally everybody has a custom development in place for it. And again, the Excel upload hitting the same tables will get covered by the process mining tool. EMS upload of the Excel will not get covered, release will get covered. This is the last part, CapEx. The CapEx PO involves two agencies. One is the finance team, whose activities are in a blue ink, that is from receipt of asset code creation request till upload of template in DMS. So the user department will send first the mail to the finance team for the asset code creation. This template in turn gets reviewed by the finance team. Finance team generates the asset code through Excel upload or RPA or manually. they prepare and they either prepare the PO request or they may update the PO, prepare stroke update the PO request. The user department might have created the PO request with all the supporting and they only update the asset code. Again, they upload the Excel template in DMS against the asset code. For the purchasing department, the activity will be receipt and review of the template, generation of PO through Excel upload, upload of template and release of PO. We have all covered all the scenarios. What can get covered by discovery and what cannot get covered by discovery. So at a first glance, it looks like discovery can cover everything and one should only go with the discovery tool and should not think of process mining. This is not the case. Process mining has its own use and discovery has its own use, as we can see in the next slide. Now I am comparing and contrasting both the processes at a very high level. Who is the owner of the process mining? It's owned by the IT team. And it works on a click of the button at the IT system, and the business user will know that their process is being reviewed. Whereas process discovery is a business-led initiative. If you have got a very long process mining can be used to analyze the process because it analyzes the years worth of data and throws up an overall picture. Whereas it has an issue in process discovery. Let's take a case of a full pay cycle. The initial PO creation to release might take few days. One can record that. Then there could be a lead time of few weeks for the material to be received. After a few weeks, when the material is received, GRN is made in 1 or 2 days. Bill booking may happen in few days, assuming we had a beautiful synchronized process. But as per the terms of payment, the payment may have to wait for 1 month, 2 months. Thus, our entire procure to pay process becomes very, very long. And to record the same set of transaction becomes difficult. And I have recorded the PO, so I have to record the GRN of the same PO, bill booking of the same PO, payment for the same PO. It becomes a difficult exercise by itself. And if we record bits and pieces, then the chain gets lost. Thus, process discovery is a tool for finding out the automation opportunity only in the PO creation or GRN creation or bill booking, such spot automation rather than reviewing the process as a whole. In other words, process mining is like a telescope by which you can observe the stars and the planets and the galaxy, whereas process discovery is like an microscope which you can use to see the stuff like virus, bacteria, etc. The third point is process variation. All the process variations as manifest are found out by the mining tool, whereas in discovery, it depends upon the recording. If an execution of the particular variant was not recorded, it will never get found out. use of multiple systems. Process mining has a limitation, especially with custom developed systems about which the process mining tool has no knowledge. If it is a standard tool like ERP, top of the line ERP systems, CRM systems, the process mining tool knows them very well. They know which tables to hit, how to analyze the data, how to generate the model, and they can work. To develop the same level of expertise for our own homegrown system is next to impossible, and hence the process mining tool has a limitation. If a user is using Salesforce plus SAP for O2C process mining can work. But in our example of vendor portal plus, let's say, Oracle EBS, process mining has a limitation. System customization, process mining has some limitation, not substantial limitation. If you are doing a process, in a process, if you are hitting the same set of tables by your own customized screens, there is no limitation. But if in a same process you are recording some data in your own customized screens as a part of the process mining will not discover them. Just to give an example, in typical ERP system, the price list update is a single step process. But in one of my customers, they had a customized tool for multi-stage approval of a price list update proposal, and finally, once the price list is updated, approved by all concerned, it will get automatically created in the ERP system. The entire system was developed as an add-on module in the ERP system itself. Here, the price list updation may get covered by the process mining, but the earlier steps of price list updation, proposal creation, and approval will never get covered by the process mining. Hence, there is a limitation. Again, in discovery, if those steps are recorded, it will get covered. So it's an excellent tool. If an activity is unmapped in the process mining tool, it will have a very serious limitation. We cannot map out one additional activity. The integration of tool with the robotic process automation development. In process mining, it is either none or very limited. Whereas, as we have discussed, process discovery tools are developed by the RPA product only, and they have excellent integration. With this, I have come to the end of my presentation, and I am open for Q&A. Let me go through the chat screen and answer the queries, if any. So let me stop sharing.
If anybody want to talk, because they can unmute it and then they can talk also for any question. Please.
Because there has been no query.
Jatin bhai, there are two questions, I think so, in the Q&A section.
Okay, let me check it out.
No, my request is, can you make hands up, something like that, so people can talk and unmute them also from our end. Other than write everything in QA, you can write.
See, there is one question from Udham Singh. How IT can be process owner? Purchase department is the owner of process and IT is a service provider. Udham Singh ji, I fully agree with you that purchasing process is owned by the purchase department, but the process mining and the initial analysis part becomes the IT driven initiative. Hence, I said the IT as an owner. I hope this clarifies your query. It is not to say that the IT department creates the PO or they manages the process, but initial process mining and tool development. Next question is from Udham Singh again. What will happen if terms and conditions like staggered delivery, payment terms, QAP, etc. of PO is not acceptable? Is the same not verified by the supplier for the acceptance before PO release? Uttam Singh ji, this question is directly about the mapping of the P2P process. And as per my understanding from IT side, the PO is released and the release PO only is sent to the supplier. If supplier has any concerns, the supplier will raise those concerns, which may lead to PO being our PO being on hold at the supplier end and material being not being delivered as per the schedule till the concerns of the supplier are resolved through dialogue, and it may ultimately result in revision of a PO to if the buyer accepts some of the terms of the supplier, the buyer may be amending the PO and sending the amended PO to the supplier after fresh release. But in any case, whichever be the process, it will get either mapped or not mapped in a process mining and process discovery tool. These were the only two questions. I hope I have answered. Any other question?
No, not in the Q&A or chat window so far.
If anyone wants to unmute himself and talk about a question.
Okay, Jatin, there are no further questions there.
Yeah.
So I would mention that, okay, we can conclude the session here because there is a thanks of giving as well as a vote of thanks and also the certificate to be given to you by our president. First of all, for vote of thanks, I would like to invite our vice president, Mr. Chintan Oza, if he can say a few words. Over to you, Chintan bhai.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ketan. Thanks, Jatin bhai. Indeed, this is a great, insightful presentation. As Edward Deming says, if you can't describe what you are doing as a process, you don't know what you are doing. So definitely, we all know project management and we are champions of it. But when it comes to taking the project to next level, when it comes to project excellence, knowledge of processes and interlock of processes and stakeholders becomes an essential knowledge which you are master of. and you have wonderfully shared your thoughts with the audience as well as answered all their questions. Indeed, we look forward to collaborate with you, work with you in future, and understand what are the new improvements coming up in the area of automation and process improvement, how technology like AI is enabling process improvement and uh, such areas. So thank you so much once again. Thanks, Jatin bhai. Over to you, Ketan.
Thank you, Chintan Bhai, for those vote of thanks. Now I would like to invite our President, Mr. Bharat Bhagat, to uh, give a certificate as a token of appreciation from PMI Mumbai chapter. Over to you, Bharat Bhai. I'm sharing my screen. I hope everyone
Yes.
can see this certificate, which would like to present to Mr. Jatin Kaji.
Let me thank you today on Sunday morning with a highly, I think, technical subject mixed with the business strategy and the people who are really, I feel that they are genuinely interested in this subject. So right from the beginning, we were 30 people, 31 people, until and we are 31 again. So I feel that most of the people have taken a live interest in the subject. It's really worth for us. We are proud that we have given a subject matter which a section of our audience is really going to take useful change on this. Jatin Bhai, thank you very much giving us such a insight into a subject which I have personally I was never very much clear on. I mean, I have never heard process mining and process discovery. We were doing all process planning only all the time and process implementation and process documentation. But then later on when you presented the tools of that thing also, then I was really amazed. It's something which I missed in my earlier career also. So that gives me a good insight into this. I don't need not add more word because Ketan Bhai also given few hit on the process subject. So please accept our gratitude and acknowledgement on behalf of the Mumbai chapter. Please accept the certificate. It will be delivered to you in the soft copy as it is. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ketan Bhai, Chintan Bhai, Bharat Bhai, for your kind words. These are the emerging technologies. Process mining and process discovery are the emerging technologies.
Okay, okay.
They are of the very recent vintage, hardly 2 to 3 years old.
Oh,
Process mining may have 5 to 6 year old history,
okay.
but process discovery is a very recent subject. Hence, you may not have heard about it, sir.
Yeah,
And it
correct.
is,
I have not heard it.
and I know it because I have been in RPA side, so it was a natural corollary and extension to the RPA.
Thanks, thanks, Jatin Bhai, for that
Thanks.
wonderful session. And before we end the session, I would like to thank our admin staff also, Mr. Sunil and Mr. Tushar, for their support for conducting this session, as well as IT team, especially Ms. Swati, for providing us support. Not only today, but yesterday also we had a practice session where we were checking audio video possibilities, and we encountered that there are problems. Hence, we came out with this option of Ms. Swati presenting this video through YouTube. So thanks a lot, Swati ji, for your support, as well as my team member or my colleague, Mr. Girish Jogi, who is AVP with professional development, and he has been coordinating with Mr. Jatin Kaji for making this event possible. All these events, Mr. Jatin Girish Yogi has been doing a role at the back end of coordinating with the speaker, and also sending the mailers, finalizing the mailers, timing, suitability, etc. So thanks a lot, Mr. Girish, also for your support. And once again, thanks everyone for joining this session on Sunday morning. I hope everyone will join on 29th November. As I mentioned, our next PM forum is on 29th November. So see you guys, and requesting everyone to join 5 minutes earlier. We are going to start our session next time at 10 a.m. sharp. So requesting everyone to join earlier.
One more query I just want to clarify with Jatin bhai. Will
Yeah.
this session be considered? See, we have a talent triangle, well,
Correct.
technical, business strategy, and another one. So where this will be put? Technical or business strategy, or
It is not in leadership. It is not in leadership.
definitely not in leadership. I was in between.
Half. If there are two PDUs,
Okay.
one PDU I would say for strategy and one for technical.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Jatin bhai, please
Okay.
note of this for
Sure.
circulation.
Thanks, Bharat bhai, for this clarification, because this we require for PDU claiming.
Yeah.
And
sometimes some people, I'll tell you, may not get mailer, but then they immediately can claim at home by organization meeting under category. So they can claim it also one to very simple.
Sure.
And why I have made right now, because later we again have to contact the speaker by how to clarify all this thing. Other than we clarify here only with presence of everybody, that is the best option now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bharat bhai, for that. And also, before we forget or before we end the session, reminder to everyone that please fill up the feedback form. Your feedback gives us chances for improvement and areas of improvement. One of the improvement which we had mentioned in the morning is having some time for networking. So we are going to start our sessions at 9:30, or you can log in at 9:30 next time onwards for some networking time, so that you guys can chit chat or catch up with each other before the session starts. So there are few such suggestions which are coming, and we are acting on it. So your valuable feedback is required, very much required. We'll be sending out link for the same by tomorrow in a mailer, along with a PDU mailer. So requesting everyone to give us a feedback. Thanks a lot.
And one more request, please suggest the subject or topic that is more interesting in current scenario. Maybe a technical, maybe a leadership development, maybe a business strategy. And please again, if you can suggest some good speaker in those areas, will be very helpful to us. Thank you.
Thank you everyone, and by signing off for the day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Happy Diwali to everyone in advance.
Yeah, happy Diwali.
Yes, happy Diwali to everyone.
Happy
No
Diwali.
crackers.
Happy Diwali.
No crackers. Decision is yet to come from government.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Swati ji.
Yeah, I am connected back now. So we can stay online for 2 minutes as discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Let other people leave it now. Accept.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you can have a new fresh session start, then let this session get disconnected totally.